In SpaceX-like fashion, Trump donations are about to enter a new stratosphere. Elon Musk making some major donations coming up to a new Trump super PAC. That's according to a Wall Street Journal report. The journal's Dana Mattioli broke this story. She's the Everything War author and joins us now. Great scoop, Dana. What are we learning here?
Yeah, we're learning that there's been a secret PAC in the works for a few months now that is going to be backed by lots of Silicon Valley CEOs and investors, including Elon Musk. And what's staggering about this news is that Elon has told the PAC that he will be planning to donate $45 million a month toward Trump reelection efforts.
That is astounding money. In response to this story, Elon posted on X, fake GNUS. I think that's news. What's your response to that?
Yeah, it's funny. He did post that, but he also denied a story we had just in May saying that he and Donald Trump were getting closer, which looks like it's true. And then he, in the replies, someone had written to him saying, it's crazy, the arc of Elon Musk. In 2008, he voted for President Obama, and now he's giving $180 million for this PAC. And he said, yeah. So he sort of confirmed the story.
He's an interesting guy. On the surface, Elon and Trump would not be financially aligned. Trump's been very vocal about being anti-EV. He has a massive financial stake in Trump Media. Truth Social is all but obsolete in the face of X, formerly Twitter. So could Elon have something else in mind here?
You know, it's really interesting, bedfellows, to your point. Trump has not spoken kindly about electric vehicles, which is the one public company that Elon Musk runs. He's got 6 companies, but that's the public one. And also, you know, he'd been pretty critical of Trump in the past. So there's been this like broader arc in Elon Musk's political leanings toward the right. And I think that's what's underpinning a lot of this. He's spoken out against DEI and being woke. And I think he's ideologically become more aligned with Republicans. And we've seen that, you know, more recently with him endorsing Trump publicly for the first time, and also this PAC that's been formed.
It's been an astounding political shift, even in this atmosphere. What it seemingly would be a massive conflict because EVs are heavily subsidized, or at least will need to be. SpaceX relies heavily on government contracts. Could that be a problem?
You know, it's interesting. Elon actually addressed some of this last night on Twitter. He said, take away the subsidies. It will only help Tesla. Also, remove subsidies from all industries. I think Tesla share owners, stockholders might not wholeheartedly agree with that, but he seems not to be too fussed about the idea of the subsidies going by the wayside.
Now, X has struggled with advertisers. It's been heavily criticized for allowing extreme, sometimes even hate speech. What could be the impact of Elon now being a huge donator to the Trump campaign?
It's interesting. We've reported before at the Wall Street Journal that, you know, Trump and Elon have gotten closer over the last few months, and there's even been talks about having some of the Republican candidates do Twitter lives on Elon's platform. So it seems like they've been trying to work out ways to make it a symbiotic relationship rather than, you know, it just being about Truth Social, which is Donald Trump's platform.
Which is, I think, has just over 100,000 active users at last checked. So also in this story, other heavy hitters will donate. Palantir co-founder Joe Lonsdale, crypto billionaires Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss. How will this shift the entire money game between these two campaigns?
You know, it's really fascinating on that front. When you think of Silicon Valley, historically, this has been a very liberal bastion. It's been a big donor base for the Democrats. And what we've seen this election cycle is that the libertarians in the group, which they obviously exist, there's a lot of libertarians in the Valley, have shifted more to the right. And they have called out diversity and equity practices as something that they feel like, you know, has gone too far. They've called out other things like stances on Israel and the war, and have decided to move more ardently to the right. And I think we're going to start seeing this. There's other PACs being formed where tech founders are contributing to the reelection campaigns of Donald Trump. We've seen some of the Sequoia venture capital Executives come out in favor of Trump more publicly. So it feels like, a few years ago, there were definitely some backers of Donald Trump in Silicon Valley, but they were almost like closeted. They didn't want to speak about it too publicly for fear of being looked down upon. Now it feels like the people exist in those circles are more emboldened to come out publicly in support of him.
Yeah, billionaire hedge fund manager Bill Ackman also endorsing Trump over the weekend. So things really have shifted. As for the Winklevoss twins, there's a presumption that Trump would be pro-crypto. Does that fit your reporting?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of the crypto founders flock to Donald Trump. David Sachs, a very big tech founder and investor, had this kind of seminal San Francisco fundraiser for Trump last month. And a lot of the crypto people attended. And from what we were told, Trump really did appeal to them and some of their concerns about regulation and the like.
So you've got all these billionaire businessmen beginning to contribute to the Trump campaign, and yet here we are. The Dow's at all-time highs, the S&P's at all-time highs, the NASDAQ is at all-time highs, unemployment is low, inflation's coming down, energy production here domestically is at an all-time high. Really, by almost all standards, the economy is humming, but yet there's this presumption that Trump would be pro-business and good for business. What is that based on in your reporting, in your estimation?
What's fascinating is we got a readout from the Business Roundtable meeting that Trump did with a number of CEOs weeks ago. And he really focused on a few areas that, are sort of music to corporate America's ears. He spoke about further lowering the corporate tax rate, which that would be like welcomed with open arms by CEOs, right? He also spoke about cutting the regulatory red tape and moving quicker. There's a sense when you speak to some CEOs across certain sectors that, there's been maybe too robust an antitrust environment right now in terms of regulation, or they have gripes with other regulatory agencies in the Biden administration. And Trump has sort of used that feedback to make promises that he would, make changes that could allow companies to compete more effectively.
Yeah, it should be interesting given the selection of J.D. Vance, who actually has been in favor of the breakup of some of the big tech companies, how that impacts Trump financial policy down the road, but we're not quite there yet. Finally, prior to the assassination attempt of former President Trump, the calls were really increasing for Biden to step down. It seems they have stopped for the moment. Do you have any reporting on the impact of that debate debacle on Democratic fundraising efforts, where they are now?
Yeah, I've been spending a lot of time speaking to prominent Democrat donors. And, right after the flubs during the debate, a lot of them were feeling concerned. Some of them were in wait and see mode where it came to, writing their next check if they wanted to wait to see if Biden made a different decision here. A lot of that rhetoric has died down in the last week, but it's also been a crazy news cycle where there was an assassination attempt. There's the Republican RNC. So I think once things, calibrate a bit, we'll hear more from the donor base.
It is astounding. An assassination attempt now feels like a month ago, and it was just a couple of days ago how fast this news cycle spins. So we'd love to have you back. Wall Street Journal's Dana Mattioli. She's the author of The Everything War. Come back and talk about the book on sale today on Prime Day. Good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.